everyone, thank you for joining me today. So for our technique video for today, I was inspired by Amy R on YouTube, and I will make sure to have a link to her down below. But we're going to be doing some ink blending and some masking. So I cut out a shape out of some masking paper I have in stock or in my stash. I think I might have gotten it from the boutique a while ago, but it was from Inkadikadoo. And now I'm laying down the outside, not the actual shape itself, so that way I can ink blend in the section that is open. And I'm just trying to lay it down, make sure it's nice and even and laying flat. Now I will say this probably isn't the most sticky of masking tapes, so like me fiddling and trying to get it to lay nice and flat and where I want it to, it caused it at certain points to kind of lift up, um, but you just have to be aware. So we're going to use the Victorian Violet, and we're just going to blend this on. And I always try and I'm going to zoom in here a little bit more. I try to start off the edge and then move my way up the actual project, so that way if I get any harsh lines, it's on the section of the masking paper and not actually in the area where it's going to be visible once we take that off. Okay, and I have to say, and this one's the Weatherwood, I really enjoy blending with the oxides. I think they're way easier to blend. So if you've ever had problems with the regular distress inks, definitely think about getting some of the oxides. Just get like, 3 colors, test it out. I think you'll see that it blends really, really well. And I'm using Nina cardstock, the Solar Crest, I want to say it is, the white, the 110. Um, it blends really well. And then I also know that if you get some Bristol cardstock, it blends even better on that. It's really, I don't know what it is about that particular paper, but it does blend really well, the distress inks and the oxides. So now I'm taking the Chip Sapphire and I'm putting this towards the bottom. Well, I've turned it, I should say. I started with the pink, did the Weatherwood in the middle, and then we got the Chip Sapphire at the top. And what I'm doing is after I lay down the color, I go back into the Weatherwood to blend the line so that way it's not super harsh. And then I grab just a little bit more of the Chip Sapphire to go around, especially on the edge, because I really wanted that to be kind of on the darker side. And then blend again for the Weatherwood. And then I think I even hit one more time the Victorian Velvet. And then blend. And you just keep adding color until it gets to the level or consistency, however you want to say it, that you were looking for. And it's so funny, these colors, obviously they are not necessarily meant to blend together, but they were, the way I had them sitting on my desk, I really liked the way that they looked together from my little swatches I have on it. So I was like, yeah, let's blend these. Now that I just dropped is the Nuvo Moonstone Glimmer Paste. And we're going to take a small amount and just very evenly coat this on top of the oxide. And what I liked about this is putting it down. I didn't see a lot of the color come up because there is going to be some of the glitter paste on my palette knife. If you use the regular distress inks, I think more of that color comes off because they're reactive. They're more reactive with water, even though the oxides are as well. And while it's still wet, after you evenly coat it, you're going to want to peel the masking tape off because you don't want it to dry. It'll make it really hard to get it off of the card without tearing it. and then there was just a little bit on the bottom. I just had to kind of push up, and um, it was all good. And then we're going to set that to the side and let it dry. Once it's completely dry, we're going to go ahead and start putting our pages together. And the top piece right here that we're doing is 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to attach it to our matte piece, which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Putting just a little bit of the art glitter glue on the back, so that way I have time to move it, which I will need. This is one of those times I laid it down and it was way too close on one edge, so I immediately was able to pull it apart and readjust it. And then you're going to see I'm going to have to do it one more time. Like, it's just not playing nicely with me today. But that's the benefit of that wet glue. If I hadn't had that wet glue on there, once I laid it down, it would have been what it was. Uneven and all, because sometimes you can't. Once you lay it down with the ATG tape, it's down. So I had a little bit of glue on my finger. So on the side here, you're going to see I'm going to grab the Tombow eraser, and I'm just erasing a little bit of that glue off, and it wanted to stay, I guess, more than I realized. So I just wanted to touch up a few spots that seemed to appear probably from the glue or whatever was on my fingers. Thankfully, though, I had no distress oxide on my fingers, which is also a possibility. If you're doing a large area, just get yourself like a little piece of scrap paper to put under your fingers, so that way you don't get all inky. Now we're going to attach that to our card base, which is an A2 size card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I really wanted to keep it pretty simple as far as the sentiment and the focal image. So I did best wishes, which I'm attaching to a label, one of my punches I have, and I just put it on top of a Victorian velvet. I had inked it up, and then I went around the edges again, so that way it would kind of match the bottom portion of this design. And because it's glitter paste, I decided to grab some foam tape, and that's what I'm doing right now, kind of off screen. And I'm doing that because when you have something that's textured, or like embossing folders, whenever you create texture within the paper, sometimes you want a little bit stronger adhesive. And a lot of times the foam tape is that stronger adhesive. And I also used a little bit of the art glitter glue. You're going to see I'm just going to take and put a line down the middle and then attach the sentiment. But it allows for that glue to get into any of the little bits and make it a strong hold. And then I'm using this butterfly that's also from my stash for the focal image, and just keeping it nice and neat and clean. I'm not adding anything else. You could add Nuvo drops or even sequins, but I think with the the Glimmer Paste, you really don't need that. It gives you tons of sparkle. You don't need any other, and it really is a nice, simple, and really pretty card. And your options are endless, because you can use any shape, any die cut, and really any combo of Distress Oxide colors. So grab you a set and let's get the coloring. So down below in the More section, I will have links to all of Scrapbooking with Me links, to their website, to the Facebook page. If you go and purchase anything at the website, just use my coupon code TT15. And if you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button, and you can also leave a comment down below. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next week with our next technique video.